Yo, what's going on, man? Tonight is February the 5th. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Another episode, another late night episode. We will be back to regularly scheduled programming on Friday morning. I cannot wait to get back. If I didn't have the glasses on, you could probably see the bags under my eyes. It's been a grind, man. Me and my son at the crib. It's been an absolute grind, man. But his mom will be back in town, and we'll get back to regularly scheduled programming. So I won't be as tired, and I'll be able to do morning streams. And I'm looking forward to it, man. Absolutely looking forward to it. Hope you guys are cashing tickets and enjoying the week. It's been a pretty profitable one for myself so far. It's only, I think, 6 games on the board for tomorrow. I dove into about 3 or 4 of them. So we'll talk about those. Get into a quick recap as always. So let's do just that. So just a quick recap of yesterday's show. I was on Cleveland, of course, versus Boston. They lost the game. First quarter, first half was a loser. But the Lakers and Clippers barely got there for a profitable night on Tuesday night. As far as Wednesday night or last night, Memphis minus the 7. You can see it in the bottom right. We took Denver third quarter, sent that out to the members, put it in their Discord as well. So nice little 2-0 night. Ended up backing off of the Brooklyn and Washington game to go up and over. To stay under the 218 after Cam Johnson got ruled in. I was like, whoa, I didn't sign up for that. So I ended up buying out of that. Didn't lose it. Like, it wasn't a loss at all. And then I put the short list over here on the left-hand side so you can see it, man. I guess I'm really just not trusting myself. Short list 8, everything except that Washington and Brooklyn was a winner. Even though I only bet 2 bets. The Cleveland, Detroit, I think first half was 110.5, 114.5. They finished with like 120. Miami won. They beat Philly. San Antonio, Atlanta, up and over 241. They got to 250. Trae Young had 11 assists at the end of the third quarter. So hopefully some of those bets helped you in your handicap, especially if you was already leaning those ways. It was definitely a profitable night. Let's see if we can kind of keep it going. See if we can keep it going here for sure. So first up, we'll start off with jaXon, as we always do. I wanted to ask jaXon about the Clippers and the Pacers game, because you got 2 teams coming off a pretty poor performance. I think both of those teams coming off pretty poor performances. So we'll talk about the game in a second, but I was interested in the total specifically. Whenever you get these fast-paced teams and these slow-paced teams, sometimes we kind of project or predict that the home team will dictate pace, and I'm not sure. Pacers defense hasn't been that good as of recently, like very, very recently. Got smoked by the Portland Trailblazers the other day, and then the Clippers defense also hasn't been that great either. So wanted to see where the total would go, and that's the problem I put in jaXon. Pacers or Clippers total. And if you're new to jaXon, or you have no idea what jaXon is an AI sports betting prediction or model. Runs a lot of different algorithmic, I think that's the word, stuff, and can give you real insight on real-time insight on player prop size totals for a plethora of sports. So definitely check it out. There is a 50% promo code in the description of the video if you're interested in checking it out. So jaXon, as always, makes me a nice little table with points scored, points allowed, combined points scored, last 10 over under. And it says why the under is a strong play. So defensive edge goes to the Clippers. They rank 3rd in the NBA in points allowed at 107.5. They've been consistent defensively, especially at home. The ability to limit their opponents. Where was I at? All right, limit their opponents could keep the Pacers' high-powered offense in check. The Pacers, while allowing 115 points per game, have shown improvement defensively in recent games, particularly against weaker offenses. Recent trends: the Clippers 7-3 to the under in their last 10 games, showcasing a trend of lower scoring matchups. The Pacers 6-4 to the under in their last 10 games, with their recent loss to the Portland Trailblazers 89-112, highlighting their offensive struggles on the road. Pace of play: while the Pacers play at a fast pace, the Clippers tend to slow the game down, ranking lower in possessions per game. This clash of styles could result in more controlled, lower scoring games. You got head-to-head. Historically, these teams have played close, competitive games. Last season, they split the 2 matchups with both games staying under 230. Okay. And then betting trends: Clippers 20-29-1 to the under this season. The Pacers 28-21 to the under this season. Both teams have leaned towards their lower scoring have leaned towards lower scoring overall games. So recommendation under 228.5. Reasoning: the Clippers' strong defense combined with their slower pace and Pacers' recent offensive inefficiencies make the under a solid play. Additionally, both teams trend towards the under, further support this pick. So jaXon likes under. I see the total actually going up though. Open 227.5. Looks like it's touching 229 right now, and I'm recording this about 11:30 Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday night. So the line is moving in favor of the Clippers. I think it opened 3.5. We'll talk about the game, but that's jaXon recommendation. Like I said, if you're interested, promo code is right other way over there. You can see it at the bottom. Use that promo code to sign up. All right, let's jump into it for tomorrow, man. So first game up, we got the Dallas Mavericks. They will be in Beantown against the Boston Celtics. They are getting 10.5 points on the road as a dog here. This total is going only north, open 228 up to 229. It looks like now 229. I see a 229.5 as well. Actually, I see a 230.5. So total is going up. I do kind of feel like you got to wait on the injury report here. The Drew Holiday is listed as questionable. I'm not even sure what the injury is, but he's listed as questionable. I saw. And then on the Dallas side, Daniel Gafford is off the injury report. PJ Washington has already been ruled out. And then Anthony Davis is actually listed as questionable as well. We know Anthony Davis could potentially make his season debut. I kind of like I feel indifferent about Anthony Davis. Oh man, I'm seeing some Brandon Ingram potentially to the Toronto Raptors stuff while I'm checking for the injury report real quick for Boston, but neither here nor there. I'm not sure what to do with this game without Anthony Davis. I think that's the biggest part of my handicap. Now, when I look at it recently, the Boston Celtics have not necessarily been great in this spot, especially coming back home off a road trip, especially if they won their last game as well. I really just wanted to see if I could find out what was going on with Drew Holiday, but that's neither here nor there. He's listed as questionable. You don't really like to see that, that PJ Washington is going to be in if you like Dallas. I'm just not looking towards Boston, though. Boston has dominated this matchup historically against the Dallas Mavericks. They're 9-1 straight up, 8-1-1 against the number. Last 10, including the playoffs last season. Of course, they beat them in the finals. They did play once earlier this season, about a week and a half ago on January 25th. Boston smoked Dallas in that spot as well. Boston was coming off a loss. I forgot. I think they might have lost to somebody on the West Coast. May have been OKC. They lost to somebody. I don't think it was OKC, but they lost to somebody, and they got their revenge. We actually cashed the Dallas first half team total under 55.5 pretty easily in that game. They won 122 to 107. The total did go over to 226.5 as well. And the over kind of makes a lot of sense. But like I said, I kind of want to see what happens with Anthony Davis. And here's why. So when I look at Dallas last three, like just recently, they have struggled, right? 3 straight losses. This is the last of a 5-game road trip. Defensively, they could come out super flat here, give up a ton of more points. They're 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games, including 7-1 in their last 8 because of their defensive struggles. Without Lively on the floor, they're down a whole bunch of bigs. So teams are just kind of getting whatever it is that they want, specifically at the rim. And we look at Boston, like I said, this is the first game back home after a 3-game road trip. They play at Madison Square Garden on Saturday. So potential look ahead spot to the Knicks. Who knows? And they've won 4 straight. They just took my money against Cleveland 2 nights ago. So I'm looking at the numbers, right? Dallas defensively last 5 games. I've talked about them being a fade. They've been bad, no way around it. Second worst defensive rated team, forcing the fewest turnovers, allowing the 9th most offensive rebounds to their opponents. On top of that, where the defense has actually been the worst is defending the 3-point line, which we know Boston wants to shoot a ton of threes. About 99%, it feels like, the Boston shots come from the 3-point line. Last 5 games, Dallas is bottom 5 in opponent 3-point percentage. Boston is number 2 in 3-point percentage and number 6 in 3-point accuracy. So Boston's going to get there. They're going to take a bunch of threes. We know that's just what they're trying to do. So if you like, Boston, that is a nice angle, especially if Dallas is going to continue to defend the 3-point line the way that they have. Here's what the reason why I couldn't quite get there with the Boston Celtics, though. I'm actually pull this up so you can see, so we can just look at it together really quickly. The So a couple different things I want to see. So I'm gonna just go. I like to do visuals so people can see what I'm seeing. Here's what I look at with Boston, though. I know that they just took my money the other day. I still feel like this team is an absolute fade. One more thing I want to just look at really quickly. So bear with me for just a second. So yeah, this is the TNT game tomorrow. So it is national televised game. Maybe that's a reason for AD to play. We'll see. We'll see what that ends up meaning. So it is a nationally televised game. So on the screen right here, this is Give Me the Dog. This just shows the Boston Celtics when they're coming off a win and they've covered. Well, not even win, but if they've covered their last game, 11-9 straight up. 3-17 against the spread. So they're covering 15% of their games. 15% of their games have the Boston Celtics covered, coming off a previous ATS win. Now it should be 4-17 because they did cover in that last game. No, this is right. Yeah. So you can see the non-covers because they didn't cover in the last game before. They didn't cover against Philly the other day. Philly got that covered. So they covered their last game. You can see that they just kind of, they just come out here. We just need to win. They're +3 in point differential. Here's the other thing that stood out to me. And this is the Boston Celtics at home when they're coming off a road win. So coming back home, we know that they're coming off a 3-game road trip. Coming back home off a win, 3-5 straight up, 1-7 against the number. 1-7 against the spread. You can see the 7 in a row that they haven't covered. Like, I just don't want to lay points with Boston. This is what they do. They do not do a good job. You can see the average ATS line. Look at this. They typically land 11 points when they come back home off a road win. They typically lose the game outright by 2 points. There's no way I'm laying points with the Boston Celtics. If AD is in, then I'll take Dallas. I'll take Dallas. I don't think I think it's a reason this line isn't moving to 11. I know Dallas has been bad. I want no parts of the Boston Celtics right now, though. None. Even with their 3-point defense being so bad, I think they'll be motivated to at least try to finish this road trip off with at least a win. So those are my thoughts here. I also want to go. There's a player prop in this game that I do like on the Boston Celtics side. It's one that I probably should have been playing for a very long time, but I haven't been. Just kind of stubborn. And you can see that it's actually plus money right now, plus 103 right now. If you're looking for Mr. Kristaps Porzingis first quarter points, the number's 5.5. He's been absolutely smoking this number. Look at this, man. Just over. The last game he didn't hit it, though. I will say this: it was against Dallas. He finished with 5 points in the first quarter. That was 4 games ago. He's hitting it he's hit it every since, outside of the Cleveland game where it feels like the end of the first quarter was 0-0. So he's up and over in 8 of the 10 games that he's played. And it's a nice little bounce back spot for him. The last time he didn't get it, that's what he had, 8 in the second quarter. It's like they always just kind of look for him. And he should have had a mismatch here. You'll have Daniel Gafford on him most likely. Gafford doesn't want to play that far away from the rim. Porzingis is probably going to have some walk-up three-pointers, probably get to the free throw line, maybe a tip, offensive rebound and a dunk. But 6 points should be pretty easy for him to obtain in the first quarter. I like Porzingis. First quarter. You can see the full season. He's still cashing about 65% as well. So nice little stretch of green here. And that's what you like to see for Kristaps Porzingis, averaging about 8 minutes in the first quarter. So love Porzingis first quarter. Have not locked this in yet, but I probably will, especially while it's plus money. I expect this to be minus 130 tomorrow before it closes. So long time win this game to not have an official play, but I would love to have Anthony Davis in. I would like the under. I would like the points with the Dallas Mavericks, thinking that they can keep it within four possessions. And we'll see what happens with Drew Holiday as well. All right, so those are my thoughts there. Let's get back over to the next game. That next game is going to be the Houston Rockets and the Minnesota Timberwolves here. So it is confirmed that Timberwolves actually opened as a 1-point dog. They've now flipped to a 1-point favorite. Total open 215.5 is up to 216 is what I see. And the Timberwolves have flipped to a favorite here. So Fred VanVleet has already been confirmed out. Steven Adams is listed as doubtful for the Houston Rockets. And Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle are already out for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They did play tonight. So it is second leg of a back-to-back. They can add people to the injury report, of course. So third matchup of the season between these two teams. Houston did win the first one. They beat the Rockets 111-117 in overtime in Houston as the 2.5-point home dog. This was before we knew that the Rockets were going to be good. And that game did go up and over the total of 220. Game two, we saw the Minnesota Timberwolves get their revenge. They actually beat the Rockets by one. They were 1-point home dogs, won that game by one. And it did go up and over to 215.5. So both of the totals very, very close to where this total is, and both of them have gone up and over. We got a Houston Rockets team that's coming in first 4-game losing streak of the season, and they did it in dramatic fashion against the Brooklyn Nets, laying 9 points 2 nights ago at Barclays. They actually had a 5-point lead, I think it was, with about 9 seconds left. Gave up a 3-pointer, turned the ball over, and then gave up another 3-pointer. Without Fred VanVleet out there, like missing Jabari Smith Jr., this is a team that it just feels like it's really, really difficult to trust, man. I think they're going through this losing streak, and it's just not a team that I want to bet on right now. I think the Rockets are really good. I don't think that this version of the Rockets are that good. Now, will they be absolutely motivated in this spot? You know, like I said, first time they've lost 4 games all season. Yeah, I do think so. I don't like the spot for them here, though. This is third game in 4 nights. They've been traveling all over the place. It's also a 4th game in 6 nights and 7th game in 11 nights. Now, you can say the same thing for Minnesota, right? Second leg of back-to-back, so they still are at the rest disadvantage, even though it's a home back-to-back. Also, third game in 4 nights. Third straight home game, though, so they haven't been traveling as much. 2 straight losses before this game without Julius Randle on the floor. And again, same thing, 7th game in 11 nights for them as well. Both of these teams have been playing a bunch of different games as of late. But the one thing I think I kind of give the advantage to the Timberwolves, even though it is second leg of a back-to-back, just because they haven't had to do as much traveling. When you look at the Rockets, when you think about 7 game and 11 nights and you look at the Rockets schedule, I mean, they've been all over the place. They've only played 7 of their 10 games have actually been on the road. So this will be 8 of 11 actually being on the road. I mean, they were in Portland. They came home for 2 games against Cleveland and Detroit. Then they went to Cleveland, went to Boston, went to Atlanta, went to Memphis, came back home for 1 game against Brooklyn, back on the road to New York, traveling to Barclay, now all the way to Minnesota. So I don't like that, even though they have the rest advantage. I don't like that they have, so many guys that's kind of banged up right now too, as well. Steven Adams is big in my opinion, and he's listed as doubtful. Tari Eason is day-to-day. Fred VanVleet, like I said, is out. No Jabari Smith Jr. I know Minnesota, like I said, without Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, but Houston feels like a fallen knife that I don't really want to catch right now. I do expect Houston to come out with something just because of how they finished the last game. Like, this was a team that they really just fell flat on their face. They had, I want to say, close to a double-digit lead. It might not have been double digits, but it was at least 8 points in that last game. And when I go through and I just look at the numbers, last 5 games for Houston, their offense has really, really struggled without Fred VanVleet on the floor. Sengun also missed a couple of those games. They're 27th in offensive rating, still top 10 defensive rated team, 21st in pace, so not playing fast. And they have played this 12th strongest schedule. Last 5 games for Minnesota, 13th in offensive rating, 7th in defensive rating, playing at the 12th slowest pace. So they also playing slow. And they played against the second easiest schedule, have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kind of playing around with their food tonight against the Chicago Bulls. And then 4th quarter starts and they absolutely steamroll them. But they had actually gave up 30 points in each quarter before the 4th quarter started. And I think they held them to like 18 or something. Yeah, it was 18, I think. So I think Minnesota will take the game serious. I do think that they are the better team and they're in better form right now. Not that it'll be easy, but I do think that makes the most sense. And it also makes sense, in my opinion, to take the Rockets early. First quarter, you probably can get like a +0.5. I think that they could potentially be the right side there. I looked at the Timberwolves. They're not super impressive playing unrested, just 3 and 4 straight up and against the spread. You look at this Rockets team, 5 and 7 straight up, 8-3 and 1 against the spread as a road dog. This is typically their role. They've actually covered 4 straight in this spot as a road dog. 5-0-1 against the spread in their last 6 as a road dog this season. And they're actually a +5 in the first quarter. So the Rockets typically come out and punch you in the mouth first. That was one way that I'm looking at the game. I kind of want to wait. The number actually isn't even out, so I can't play it if I wanted to. But I think Rockets early, Minnesota full game, even though the rest would say the opposite. I just think that it's more rest overall for the Minnesota Timberwolves being at his third straight home game. Hopefully that makes sense. I know they're at a rest disadvantage, but overall I feel like they're in better form right now. Really don't want to kind of try to catch the falling knife with the Rockets. I think that they are due to kind of go in this skid. But the line's probably pretty accurate as well. So lean Minnesota, full game, lean Houston first quarter. Think that they can get the job done early. Next game, the Orlando Magic and the Denver Nuggets. So at the time of this recording, the Orlando Magic are actually winning. I kind of leaned Orlando plus the points tonight too. It's just more of a fade of Sacramento, thinking Orlando would eventually get it right. Sacramento, bottom 5 defensive rated team, first game back home off a 6-game road trip. To me, Orlando, kind of free falling. It made sense for them to win. So it does look like they're going to be able to win this game. And I could be wrong. It's still third quarter with 2 minutes left, but they've dominated the third quarter specifically against the new look Sacramento Kings. Actually, they are, what is this? Real quick, let's just look at it. They are winning in the third quarter, 33-17. So looks like, they could, Kings still could come back, but they are up by 18 with about 2 minutes left. So tomorrow they'll be in Orlando. They'll be second leg of back-to-back, of course. We'll have to check the injury report and see who actually is available for this team. Could they rest some people? Yeah. Is Orlando super young? Absolutely. So we have no idea what's going to happen there with the injury report. And the Denver Nuggets, they kind of played with their food early tonight. Tomorrow does not set up for a great spot for them, even though they are on the second leg of a home back-to-back. It's 5th game in 7 nights for the Denver Nuggets. That's typically a spot that I don't play on. Now, Denver was in the 5th game in 7 nights earlier this season, and they probably will continue to be without Westbrook. He's out without a timetable. Probably won't see him till after the All-Star break sometime. So something to kind of take into consideration. I think Aaron Gordon did play tonight. Potentially he rests tomorrow too. Denver did play earlier this season, though. They were actually at home playing against the Detroit Pistons. That was a 5th game in 7 nights. They blew the Detroit Pistons out of the water. So, is Orlando, do I want to lay a lot of points here, especially 10? No, I don't. Is Orlando, kind of in free fall still, even if they beat the Kings tonight? I'm not going to give them so much credit for doing that because I don't like the spot for the Kings. And like I said, Kings bottom 5 defensive rated team. When you add Zach LaVine, your defense gets no better. So I don't know how much credit I want to give Orlando there. Do I want to lay this big of a number with Denver? Absolutely not. Denver did beat Orlando earlier this season. They only beat them 113-110. They were actually laying 7.5 as a road favorite. That game did stay under the 221 as well. Orlando had actually covered 7 straight against Denver before the earlier matchup this season. So short travel, but Orlando from Sacramento to Denver, but they are just 1-9 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games, 4 straight non-covers, even though it looks like they are going to get a cover tonight. And this will be the last game of a 5-game road trip. So 2 really unfavorable spots. Last game of a 5-game road trip on the West Coast, traveling into altitude, not the greatest spot for Orlando. And then for Denver, like I said, 5th game in 7 nights. Even though they did end up taking care of business in the second half against the shorthanded New Orleans Pelicans. So those just quick thoughts. Not a game that I'm probably going to be interested in betting, especially with a big spread like this. Denver has been covering, though. I will say that they have been covering at the crib specifically. I think the last 5 games they had that 4-game road trip where they didn't cover. I think they might have covered one of those games at the crib. Denver's actually been covering. Real quick, let's just put some numbers to that. So. The Nuggets last, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they've covered they've covered all 4 of their last 4 games at the crib. And they've actually covered, they lost the one outright to the Spurs. Then they beat the Spurs in the second leg of that back-to-back. But before that, they had actually won 4 in a row at home as well. So they're actually 8-1 against the number in their last 9 games at home. 8-1 straight up, 8-1 against the spread in their last 9 games. So, they've been able to, 9-1 because the Pelicans again tonight, that's not even updated on what I'm looking at. So Denver has been playing really, really good basketball. Like I said, don't really like the spot for either team. Next game, Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trailblazers. Looks like right now Portland is getting 2 points as a home dog. I'm expecting this line to change, right? Yeah, the 2s are actually starting to disappear. And the the twos are turning into 1.5s. And I was kind of expecting that, right? Like, why would you want to bet against the Portland Trailblazers right now? This team is red hot. Only Matisse Thybulle listed as questionable. Sacramento, of course, is playing right now, and it's a terrible spot for the Sacramento Kings. It'll be as horrible as the spot was for Sacramento tonight. What did I say it was? First game back home after a 6-game road trip. Tomorrow will be first game. Well, it'd be six game home trip. Return home for 1 game. Right back on the road to Portland. This is gonna be a terrible spot. Still trying to get acclimated with playing with Zach LaVine. Still trying to get acclimated to playing without De'Aaron Fox as well. Not sure how much energy they're going to exert in this game in the fourth quarter to see what happens against Orlando, if they even want to try, to come back, or if they're going to try to shift their focus to this Portland game. So the fourth quarter in this game is going to tell us a lot about this one. This is the third matchup of the season. Sacramento actually won the first one. I think this was the first week of the season. They won the game by 13, but it was a push because they were 13-point favorites. Game landed right on a push. This is the first week of the season. Portland actually won and covered at 7.5-point home dogs back on November 29th to get some revenge. Both of the games went under the total of 231 and 225.5. And this total is actually, let's see, is it on the move? It is 230.5. So not really moving a lot at all. The 1.5s are evaporating though. There's still a couple twos. And that's the side I want to be on. Either Portland or the team total over for Portland. Like I said, Sacramento defense has just been terrible. So you look at the team, Sacramento, outside of it just being a terrible spot, Sacramento is just 5-5 straight up, 3-6-1 against the number in their last 10 games. Second leg of back-to-back, like I said, and they were actually coming off like I said, the 6-game road trip. And then for Portland, the hottest team in the NBA right now, 9-1 straight up, 10-0 against the spread in their last 10 games. Hottest team by far. Portland is all over the place. I don't even think they know what they want to do. Do they want to try to make a playoff push? They're supposed to be a dumpster fire and supposed to be selling, trading some assets. So could that still happen? Yes. Tomorrow is the last day of the trade deadline. I think 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when it ends. But it's Portland or nothing for me pretty easily here. Like I said, they just absolutely been balling. They've actually their last loss actually came against Oklahoma City. They were getting 13.5 points as home dogs. Since then, they've for their last 5 games, they've actually won by double digits. This team is absolutely on fire. I talked about Sacramento, third worst defensive rated team last 5 games, 15th in pace against the 4th most difficult schedule. The Portland team is first in offensive rating, third in defensive rating, playing at the second slowest pace, and it has been against the 5th easiest schedule. But they've beaten some contenders in there as well. So I wouldn't overlook Portland right now, especially with them beating, Phoenix back to back with Kevin Durant. They also just beat the Indiana Pacers pretty handily as well, and they're still at home, haven't even had to travel. So it's Portland. Real quick, I do want to go to Moneyballer. I want to show you all one thing that I looked at on Moneyballer that made me kind of think about team total versus the spread, because I just talked about Sacramento being a terrible defense. I don't think it got any better adding Zach LaVine. So real quick, this is Moneyballer. If you're interested in checking out Moneyballer, there's a link in the description as well. So you can see some situational stuff here. Kings in-season revenge, second leg of back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, fourth game in 6 nights. Same thing for Portland, right? But they do have the rest advantage. Third game in 4, fourth and 6. Says fade teams, fatigue factor plus travel. That's kind of what I just talked about, right? With the Kings, 4th and 6, only 1 game at home, 6-game road trip, go home for 1, no rest, back on the road. So yeah, and then you see the over system based on previous matchup scoring as well. So if we go down here, right, and we look at the team totals, you just look at the over. Kings 6-3 to the over on the second leg of a back-to-back. If they have the rest disadvantage, 9-2 to the over, and that makes sense for the team totals, right? Look at these team totals for the opponents, for the Kings. First off, for the whole season, you can see that their opponents are 28-20-1 to the over. If the Kings are playing the second leg of a back-to-back, their opponents have gone over their team total in 6 of the 9 games. And if the Kings are at the rest disadvantage, look at this. This is just first half, 9-2. But look at this. Boom. 11-0. The Kings have allowed each one of their opponents to go up and over their team total if they're playing at a rest disadvantage. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. So I think it's a couple ways to get paid in this game. I think you could take the team total over for the Portland Trail Blazers. The Kings do play with a lot of pace, and I think you could play the +2, just depending on what you want to get. I have not locked in either, but now that the numbers moving, I'm probably going to. The only thing that scares me off, even is just a tad bit, is that this could potentially. I'm scared of the trade deadline, if I'm being honest. We've seen a lot of players on the move, man. A lot of players on the move. That's the only thing that really scares me at all, is that Portland, trade somebody that's pretty valuable to their team's recent success. So that's the only reason I haven't pulled the trigger yet. But yeah, I'm not looking towards the Kings. Let's put it that way. Team total over for Portland or plus the points. Next game, Lakers and Warriors. Man, I'm not sure what to do with this one either. The Warriors actually. Oh wow, they lost that game. Wow, damn. Okay, I looked at this. I've been capping the games and trying to watch and cap at the same time. Got my iPad right beside me, phone up. Got YouTube TV on multi-view, trying to watch 8 games, cap 8 games at the same time. But when I last checked, this was the Warriors were actually winning by 7 in the fourth quarter. The start of the fourth quarter, they were up 7. And they ended up losing that game outright to Utah. I'm looking at it right now. I had no idea. Lost that game 131 to 128. Defensively, boy, you can't give up that many points to the Utah Jazz. Whew, man, that's tough. So Warriors and Lakers, line open 5.5, already moving towards the Lakers at 6.5. Total come down from 222 down to 221.5. Maybe they were looking ahead. We know that the big trade happened. They didn't have Wiggins. Probably won't have Jimmy Butler tomorrow either, even though he just, he's going to be a part of the roster. I don't think that he's probably going to play in the game tomorrow. Typically, you got to get the physicals, you got to fly out, blah, 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 blah. Players typically don't play the next day, but I'm speculating. Also, no Wiggins, of course. They just traded Schroeder. So it looks easy to take the Lakers. The Lakers have actually beaten up on the Warriors already twice this season as well. So you could say it's easy to take the Lakers. They've beaten them twice, or you could say it's double revenge for the Warriors. Now this is, of course, the biggest spread as well, right? Lakers beat the Warriors on Christmas 115 to 113 as 4-point dogs. Then they actually came home, were laying a point, and won that game as well, 118 to 108 as a 1-point favorite in that game. That game was actually in Golden State, so they won both games in Golden State. Both games did go up and over the total too. The first one was 220, second one was 220.5. Last 10 between these two teams are actually 8-2 to the 7-3 to the over. So with the Warriors being second leg of back-to-back, also third game in 4 nights, I mean, they're so sporadic right now. 6-4 straight up and against the numbers, 7-3 to the over last 10. Offense has been really kind of just inconsistent. They'll have really good offensive games. I think 128 points tonight against Utah is enough to win. Clearly, they didn't play any defense, though, and their defense has been the most difficult thing. I don't want to fade the Lakers right now, man. I would love for the Lakers to be laying a shorter number, like a possession. I would love for the Lakers to be a dog, because the Lakers have absolutely been cashing. Now, of course, if I laid this 6.5, being that this is my team, they look like absolute trash. But right now, I mean, they're just playing inspired basketball, man. It's been a few games in a row that they've kind of put this together. LeBron looks like he's 25 again. I don't want to fade the Lakers. They're just playing with so much energy and effort. I watched them have a really good game against the Clippers. They hit the Clippers before the Clippers even knew what happened. Last 5 games, 6th best offensive rated team, 4th best defensive rated team, 3rd in efficiency differential. They're playing at the 17th fastest pace against the 16th most difficult schedule. Now, Golden State, not including tonight's game, 22nd in offensive rating, 11th in defensive rating, 20th in pace against the 9th easiest schedule. So I don't think it gets too much easier for Golden State here, in my opinion. Golden State also just 4-4 straight up, 3-5 against the number, playing second leg of back-to-back. They also 6-2 to the under. So offense doesn't quite show up. This is a clear pass for me at 6.5. Do think the Lakers are the right side. Probably be on the sideline though. Next game, last game, Pacers and Clippers. So I asked jaXon about the total. Already told you jaXon likes the under, even though the total is actually going north. I can't remember the prompt for jaXon today. What did jaXon like? Jackson actually liked the under in the Brooklyn game, and I cashed out of that one. So Jackson, I guess you could say, coming off a 0-1 game, but if we reran it with Cam Johnson in, maybe that changes the analysis a little bit. When I asked the night before, of course he wasn't present. Anyway, getting back to this game, Jackson likes the under. So the Pacers, I don't think will have anybody on the injury report. I know Miles Turner did play in that last game. He's been listed as questionable the last couple games. And I think they should have everybody. The Clippers also should be pretty healthy here. They had everybody against the Lakers. Just both of these teams got smoked in their last game. And that's what makes this one so difficult. It's the first matchup of the season. Last season, both teams actually split with the road team winning each game. Road team also covered both spreads, and both of them were blowouts as well. Both of them went over the total. Totals are actually 8-2 to the over in the last 10 between these two teams. Now for the Pacers, this is third game in 4 nights, 4th and 6. All of those games, I think, have actually been on the road as well. They've actually failed to cover 3 in a row. They got blasted by the Portland Trailblazers, 189 to 112 in that last matchup 2 nights ago. And this is the third game of a 4-game road trip. They actually finish it out on Saturday against the Lakers. So I'm not even sure. That game might be on TV as well, national TV game. But they probably want to get the bad taste out of their mouth. I know for sure the Clippers want to get the bad taste out of their mouth, though. They're coming off back-to-back losses now. Went on the road to Toronto, got steamrolled in that game. I think they lost by 8 as a I think they lost by 8 as a 7-point favorite or something of that nature. And then, of course, lose to the Lakers as well. That line had all the money come in on the Clippers, and they never even really showed up. Lakers just came out there, out-rebounded them, shot the ball really well from the three-point line. So the Clippers have taken a step back. They are 13th in offensive rating, 22nd in defensive rating, which is interesting because they're still a top 5 defensive rated team, specifically at home. They are playing at the 4th slowest pace over the last 5 games against the 13th easiest schedule. And then the Pacers, still like a really good team last 5 games, 8th in offensive rating, 9th in defensive rating, 5th in pace, but they also played against the 5th easiest schedule. This feels to me like a spot where I want to take the Clippers because I think situationally they'll come out and play really hard. The Pacers, I think, are a lot better than what they have been putting up, but I like the Pacers a little bit more at home. Now, as a road dog, they have been profitable. They're 9-6 against the number so far this season. But when I was looking specifically at, just trying to feel like trying to find some ammunition to take the Clippers. I want to take the Clippers. I want to take them early too, especially being at the Tua Dome. Looking through some quotes, I see one that says, Tyloo said, he says, quote, "We got to come out. We got to play hard every game. We got to compete every single night, be in these games. And if we don't, we can get beat by anybody. If we don't play hard, we don't give ourselves a chance. Our margin for error is slim. Kawhi's not Kawhi yet. He's limited in minutes. If we don't do what we've been doing all year, it's going to be a long season for us." He also talked about how pissed he was after, the teams have been playing so bad over the last couple games. So I think you get maximum effort here from the Clippers coming off back-to-back losses. I know the Pacers will be motivated as well, which is why I haven't quite pulled the trigger on it yet. But that's the way I'm kind of thinking about this game, is that Clippers at home, they've been much better at home than the Pacers have been on the road. So I lean Clippers. This line is moving too. It opened 3.5. It's actually, I see some 5s now. 4.5s look like they're, evaporating, and the total is actually moving up as well. I'm not sure about the total, just because the Clippers, when they're really good, their defense is really good. They're still, cashing about 70% as a home favorite this season against the spread. Most of those games are under games. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with the total going up when the Clippers are good. Like I said, they play defense. I think they can dictate pace, even though the Pacers will want to play fast. So if I like Clippers, I like under. And like I said, I think the Pacers are good. I just don't want them in this spot. Not third game in 4 nights, all on the road against a motivated Clippers team. So I'll lean Clippers. Haven't quite bet this one yet either, though. So no bets yet. Like I typically like to give out something. I have not bet anything. I will give you on my short list, and who knows? Some of these bets might be placed like, in the next 10 minutes. Some of them I might not get to the window with at all, but I talked about why I like all of them. Definitely not playing Dallas without KD though. Not KD, AD. Porzingis up and over his first quarter points. It's likely that I'll at least have a half unit on that. I think Houston first quarter makes a lot of sense, but Minnesota should be able to win the game. And in the Portland play, I know it's super square at this point because they're 9-1 straight up, 10-0 against the spread, but it's probably the best look on the board in my opinion. And I'll lean towards the Clippers. Like I said, I put 4 on here, but the 4s are gone now. This is actually moving to 5. So if you want Clippers, hopefully you've gotten there a little early. And that'll be the show, man. Resources that I use to handicap are here. We talked about jaXon, showed you guys what Outlier looks like. Went to Moneyballer to pull up some of the trends as well. Odds Jam, I'm always staring at the Odds Jam screen, the sportsbook screen page to kind of look at live odds and where I can find the best numbers. Always about getting the best price. So check these out. The link for these are in the description of the video. As always, I hope the video is helpful. Best of luck on all your action. Like I said, again, Friday should be back to regularly scheduled programming. 7:30 a.m. We will jump into it. It's a big slate on Friday. Actually, not too big. It's about 7 games on Friday. So tap back in with me then. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. Also, just hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, man. You guys are the best. I'm not someone who talks about it. I've never even acknowledged how many followers or subscribers I have. I don't do it for that. I do it to share the insight, which is why, my videos are typically so long because I'm just trying to give out information. And I also just want to cultivate a very, very caring community. I know sports betting can always, seem to be about the money. And don't get it twisted. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win every single bet that I play. But I want the right audience, if that makes sense. Some people have come to the channel, had some negative things to say. And we kick them out, right? Like they out of here. But to gain 10,000, subscribers, the genuine way, by being authentic to who I am, makes me feel really good, man. Makes me feel really good. So I do appreciate each and every one of you that signed up to listen to me talk about basketball. Really, really do appreciate that, man. Enjoy your Thursday, man. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Best of luck on all your action for tomorrow as well. I'm out.